Are live here on YouTube and Facebook. So welcome to the 38th edition of the FasterFreedom LiveCast. I just made that number up. How are you doing tonight, Brian?
I was impressed with 38. I thought that sounded awesome. Holy smokes.
It's probably around that.
And you got a ton of experience now. It just rolls off of you. I don't know if you know this, Sam, but President Trump is going live right now. So you think people are going to tune into us or him? What do you think?
He's a little more polarizing than us. He's a real estate investor. I try to be polarizing in a good way. I don't know if he always tries to be polarizing in a good way, but he is polarizing. We have to give him that.
That is
So you're saying there might not be a bunch of people on here. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate all of you. Let us know where you are from here. Make sure to put your questions in the chat box. Brian and I are going to be talking about 2021 and setting goals, and then we are going to be answering your questions as always. So put your question in the chat box. We will get to every single one that we can. And in the meantime, let us know where you're from, and we will get to answering questions. We got hola. So where it was from, but hello. I'm okay with that. There you go. Some questions. We will definitely get to those questions. Hi, you guys are worth the watch. Thank you. Lucas Walls is from Lake St. Louis. I thought that was a typo at first, but definitely. Jason says, I'd rather tune into you. Thank you. Look at all the support we're getting, Brian.
nice.
What's up, Sheezy? What is up, Knoxville? Lucas says D-Town. That's Defiance, in case you didn't know that.
Is Lucas on twice? He's in two locations at the same time, too.
Lucas is a sneaky son of a gun, that guy. Yates, what's going on? We got Knoxville, may hit that one. Let us know where else you guys are from. Kind of like to get a range. California, Alabama. So anyways, what else? What other questions y'all got about real estate investing? Keep them in the chat box. What's up? All right. So let us put you here. All right, there you go. All right, so let's get rolling. Sorry, had a crazy comment that I had to delete. All right, so let's get to it, Brian. What is going on with the real estate market today? And then we're going to answer your questions. How is the real estate market going? What do you think about it?
It still seems to be. I mean, it's January 6th, and in normal times, the market's relatively slow in January, first week of January. But I don't know, man. Everything that we keep putting on the market keeps selling quick. So I think the market's as hot as I've ever seen it in January. So I'd have to say the market's pretty dang hot, especially for nice fixed up houses in the median price range, which in the St. Louis area is probably like 150 to 300,000, something like that. Super hot.
Yeah, I feel like people that aren't investing in real estate, Brian, they're not going to believe us because we keep saying it's hot. It's not slowing down at all. So the real estate investing market is hot, and it seems to keep chugging along. I can't imagine a slowdown in spring. I know that happens sometimes, I guess, but spring's usually when it ramps up, right? So I can't imagine a slowdown in the next 6 months. I guess maybe we'll wait till next fall, but you just never know, right?
And you know what? I was just thinking about this right before we got on because I guess today we found out that we have a Democratic president, a Democratic House of Representatives, and a Democratic-controlled Senate, which I don't know, but in general, I think that means more stimulus money would be my guess. So, I think that's got to be good for the real estate market short term. I don't know about long term, but short term, I think that's got to be good for the real estate market.
Yep, I agree. We don't like to talk politics and pick sides on here, but we do like to just at least say what we think, what current party or president or control is going to do to the market. And I think that's a great analysis, Brian, that in the short term definitely will help with stimulus potentially. And who knows about the long term, no matter who's in there, right? I mean, there's a lot of things completely outside of the government control that can affect the housing market or the economy. There's a lot that can that the government has zero control over. So, it doesn't really matter sometimes who's president or who's in house. Crazy things happen. Hence hashtag 2020.
Little rotor, Sam. Take both sides. Don't get too controversial, man.
No, I do not. Don't worry about that. So Brian and I are going to talk a little bit about setting goals, and then we're going to answer your questions. So make sure to put your questions in the chat box. We would appreciate that very much. Keep them there, and we will get to every single one that we can. And we will do our best to provide as much content and free good advice that we can. So Bryan, talk about goals, because I know you're a big goals guy. You've been setting goals for a while. So tell us a little bit about why you set goals and what goals you've set, and a little bit about that for a few minutes. Then we're going to get to your questions.
All right. So, I think one of the things that's important about setting goals is it helps you just kind of think through what you really want. I think there's a lot of people in this world that kind of let life just hit them. They don't like plan their life or like try to accomplish things, because they just take it a day at a time, and they don't plan their life and think through what they want and then write it down, and kind of if you write it down, you're kind of creating that intention that this is what I want this year, and you're throwing that energy out there that's going to help attract that. So I think in my life, I found it super important to set goals. And I like doing it in different ways too. Be creative with it. Have some fun with it. It doesn't have to be all serious. Like I saw you posted a picture the other day in a Facebook group that I'm in that just had a few statements on that were just kind of written out. It wasn't anything like super planned or super organized or anything. It was just throwing it out there. This is what I want this year. And I don't know, did you write it on your mirror or something, or your bathroom?
Yeah. Yeah, so on the mirror, I have the right side of the bathroom countertop. Courtney has the left side. And on my right side, I got the 4. They're not their goals, or just for their goals, just for things I want to do. And not necessarily even this year, just kind of the 4 next things that I kind of want to get to in my life. Just kind of always seeing them when you're brushing your teeth in the morning and night, just kind of always have at the top of your mind. And then Courtney has the same on her side, actually. So she has some over there as well. So just a small way to do something. I would suggest everybody doing something along those lines, whether it's a sticky note on your desk at work, or a sticky note in your car, or on your mirror in your house. Just your goals, or just kind of, I don't know if manifesting, I guess, is the right kind of word, but just always kind of having that kind of stuff top of mind, as well as setting personal goals. Lucas and I set a lot of goals for our businesses every single year, every single quarter. I know we do for our businesses as well, Bryan. We have, year-long, what do we have real quick? Don't get the question. We have 5-year goals, 3-year goals, 1-year goals, quarterly goals, we call them rocks, and then weekly to-do. So basically take it down from this big 5 years. All right, we want to be here in 5 years. In 3 years, what does that need to look like? In 1 year, what does that look like? And then quarterly, and then weekly. And obviously, as it goes down the line, it gets a little more detailed, a little more granular.
Yeah, and I'll add something to that, Tim. But in my personal goals, I like to just kind of have some fun with it and just kind of throw it out there, kind of like you were talking about with your just a few things that you got wrote down, and But in a business setting, when you're trying, especially if you have a team and you're all trying to get on the same page, following a plan, you need to have good clarity on the plan. So you got to have that a little bit more organized and more structured. So that's why throwing out where are we going to be 5 years from now? Let's put some structure around that, but kind of throw out we call it a BHAG, a big hairy ass goal out there, just something to shoot for that you don't know exactly how you're going to get to, but just put an intention out there that's big, something you're excited about. And that's like the 5-year. Then you get a little bit more clarity, like 3 years out, but 1 year out, you kind of almost have to break it down to, we're going to do this, 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 and this. So this is a great time of year in January. Like we're having our leadership retreat Friday, right?
Yeah.
In 2 days, and at that retreat, we're gonna, nail down. We already know what our 5-year is, what our 3-year kind of outlook looks like, but we're gonna put down, these are the 5 things that we're gonna accomplish this year. And not only, we're business partners, so we'll know it, but our team will know it also. So you get everybody rowing in the same direction.
I agree. I think that mirrored off that, then we answer questions. Same thing I did. I know you do it, and Lucas does it. Personal and business, everybody row in the same direction. Like I said, I have my goals, Courtney has her goals, I see her goals, she sees my goals. So we see the others in the mirror. So we're in the same direction, working cadence together towards our goals personally, and then as a family, and then, same with business. So
Where's Maisie's goals at?
Maisie's goals is her goal is to not pee the bed for for a week. That's her goal.
Do you have a Maisie's joke of the day for us, Sam?
I can think of one. I will at the end of this. I will do a Maisie's joke of the day. I love that. So, all right, let's get to some questions now. Keep the questions coming. Is it better to start renting or selling a house? I'll give my opinion, then I'll hand it off to Brian. It just depends on your goals. This is the theme. Depends on your long-term goals. So I would say it depends on two things. It depends on your long-term goals, and it depends on your short-term cash position. If you need cash now, then I would sell it and get that cash no matter what your long-term goals are, if you really need the cash. However, if you have some cash in hand and your long-term goals are rentals, I would definitely get into rentals. And there's nothing that says you can't fix up a house to sell it and do a rental alongside of that, or vice versa. You can do more than one thing at once if you have the capabilities and connections. But I think it depends on your goals and your short-term cash position. What say you, Mr. Schroeder?
I have nothing to add. You said it brilliantly, man.
Awesome. Well, you get the next one, and you can say brilliantly. So This is a great one. I want to know how to start as a beginner. I have about 10K, and I saw she posted a little bit later down that her credit scores, I believe, are in like the mid sixes, I believe is what she posted as I was scrolling. Yes, they're in the mid upper sixes, actually, 650 to 705, depending on the credit report. So that just gives you some context with her with 10 grand.
Well, okay. So you want to know how to, so you have about 10 grand. That's awesome. That's good reserve fund. With yourself in that position, and what'd you say? Decent credit score, sounded like? Mm-hmm. Good credit score. So you have the choice to do anything. What we do, for the most part, we either wholesale houses, we buy, rehab, and resell, or we rent houses. And with the 10K sitting aside, you could do any of those. So it kind of comes back to, what are your goals? Like Sam was talking about earlier. If your goals is to build a portfolio of rentals, you're in a good place to get started. I wouldn't use that 10K. I would use it as keep it in reserves, follow the BRRRR method, buy a house at a discount, using somebody else's money, either a hard money lender or a private lender, and then fix it up, get it rented to a quality tenant, refinance that out with a bank long-term. Through that whole process, you still have that 10K in reserves just in case something goes wrong. You go over budget on your rehab or whatever. So you're in a good position to get started. So how do you get started? Is you educate yourself by what you're doing. You getting on our YouTube channel. There's tons of information out there on YouTube. So plug into that. Plug into any real estate clubs. I know it's a little weird right now because a lot of them aren't meeting, but if there's a real estate club in your area that's meeting, plug into that community, get to know people, educate yourself, and then just take action. First thing to do to take action is find a deal. So you gotta get out there networking with other wholesalers, or you gotta start doing some direct to seller marketing yourself. So what do you say, Sam? Anything to add to that?
I think you covered it pretty good. I usually say, I would, to figure out what you want to do, if you want rentals or flips, if you have a good credit score and 10 grand, then you have some options. So I would continue to educate yourself, and I would leverage that to borrow from somebody. I would leverage that $10,000. A private lender or a hard money lender is more likely to lend you money. They can look at the deal, obviously, but if you have 10 grand in your bank account or $100 in your bank account, you're probably more likely going to get approved with that 10 grand. So that's what I would do, is leverage that 10 grand into whatever you want to do. And then if you have some left over, I would, if it's the right thing, pay for some type of help if that's what you think you need. Because if you try to figure it out on your own, you can make tens of thousands of dollars in mistakes, as opposed to paying a coach or mentor or somebody, or buying some course, for $500 or $1,000 can save you tens of thousands of dollars. So I love it. What's going on? Hello again. So here we go. What are your perspectives on the Canadian real estate market? So we actually get quite a bit of Canadians on there. I don't know a ton about it, and I don't want to sound like I do. I would imagine that a lot of it mirrors the U.S. market, but I know there are a lot of Toronto and a lot of these awesome cities kind of stand on their own. But I would assume that a lot of it mirrors, and I get asked all the time about the rules are the same or different. I don't know exactly. I know a few pretty big YouTubers in Canada that talk about the BRRRR method and all this stuff quite a bit. So I think most of what we do down here and we preach and teach can work up there. But I'm sure there's some rules and regulations and some little things that are different. So don't want to tell you to do exactly. Just do your own research on your local market. I would say about that. All right, let's go. What's just hopping on? Got a guy. I'm a Rillo on here. I'm a Rio. All right, I'm 16, bro. I'm not 16, but Jason is 16. I'm 16. I've been making and saving up money, investing in stocks, and expect to have about 78,000 saved up by the time I'm 18. Holy crap! I really want to get into real estate. What to do? Wow, that is impressive. When I was 16, I was not doing that.
Me neither.
What were you doing when you were 16, Brian? Not that. You were probably baling hay and building silos, you farm boy.
That's true. That's true. But every dollar I made, I spent. I wasn't like Jason here. I didn't save. He's very impressive. Holy smokes, he's going to be way ahead of us, Sam.
Way ahead. All right, so Jason, I'll answer that, and I'll have it on with Brian. Can think of some thoughts. So first thing I would do is, honestly, you have all that money saved up. Definitely continue to educate yourself and continue to do what you're doing. Don't go if you're crushing it at this. As much as I think you should invest in real estate, and maybe do something on the side, I wouldn't stop doing what you're doing if you're absolutely crushing it. I think real estate's the best, easiest, quickest path to long-term wealth. But if you're crushing like that, I mean, don't just completely go a different direction because real estate's sounds cool. It is cool and it is awesome, but I would make sure you have that stable and continue to do that if it's working. And if you want to dip into real estate, you should for sure. It's great. So continue to educate yourself. I would talk to all the local investors in your town, join those local real estate investing meetup groups, those local Facebook groups that we talk about all the time, and get to know other investors. I would be shocked if an investor, a smart investor in your town wouldn't take you under their wing, considering what you've done so far, what you've amassed so far, and seeing potential in you to maybe make money off of you by you selling them houses in the future or vice versa. And then just, like I said, whoa. Continue to educate yourself. I have a YouTube video on bird dogging. I'm making more videos on how to make money when you're under the age of 20. So stay tuned to our YouTube. Brian, what say you?
Yeah, I think he obviously has figured out how to make money and how to save money. So continue to follow your passion. So if your passion is real estate, which he probably doesn't know that yet because it hasn't really started, but keep doing what you're doing as long as you're enjoying it. And start diversifying your investments into real estate. And probably the best way to do that is to start buying rentals. We talk about the Burr method all the time. If you got enough,
Brian Burrs.
That's right. If you got enough money to put 20% down on properties, you don't need to do the Burrs method. But even if you got 70 to 100K, that goes pretty darn quick when you start putting 20% down on every deal. So, I think start buying some rental houses. I don't know that you can until you're 18 years old. I think you got to be legal 18 to be legal.
Yeah, and he's smarter than us probably, or way smarter when we were back then. He said when he turns 18 he asked it in a couple different layers when he turned 18. So on Facebook, continue to like and share this. We'd appreciate that. But yeah, I would say Brian, do you like corny sayings? I would say the world is your oyster, young Jason. You have a lot of potential, and a big future. So just don't. What do you say? I mean, you got a lot of money and you're young. You're obviously smart and bright. Don't let somebody take advantage of you and ask for a bunch of your money for some investment. Make sure you vet everything because people are going to start coming to you and asking you for money if you're doing that well. So make sure you trust the people you go into business with because I'm sure a lot of people will be approaching you about that. So Paul's got a question on here. How can I finance to house hack with no job income? Go ahead, Mr. Schroeder.
Well, how can I finance to? I guess private lenders was one way to do it. Seller financing is one way to do it. So partner with somebody if you house hack and you don't mind having a roommate, or you buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, you can partner with that person if you bring them the deal. And they bring the income or the W-2. Maybe you have income from some other job and you fix it up, or you do the work yourself in the house and fix up. There's options for you for sure. That's why real estate's so amazing. It's endless. Now you're gonna have a little more of a challenge if you're trying to finance something without a job, but it can be done. And Brian made a great point. We're not going into too much detail. There's seller financing that you can get into, and then private lenders. Maybe taking out a 3 or 5 year note with a private lender, or just seller financing. So you have options for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. But go find a job, man. Holy smokes. Go get a good job.
I like it.
Or start your own business. Do something fun. Make some money, though.
I'm 23. Do you think it's a good age to start? No, you can't invest in real estate until you're 30. I'm kidding. Yes, that's a great age to start. I started when I was 25, 26. So you are a couple years ahead of even me. So I think that's awesome. I think the sooner the better you get started. Every successful real estate investor I know, Bryan Schroeder, you included, has two things in common. One, they wish they started earlier. Every single one. Not one says, oh, I wish I would have started a couple years later. Every single one. I guess maybe if somebody invested a bunch in 06 or 07 and then the market crashed, but that's a little bit different. And then they all seek out help and support what you are doing right now. What do you think about that starting at 23, Bryan?
I think it's awesome. Do you think is a good stage to start? Of course, it's a great age to start. It's do the things that we talk about. Sam has said here a whole bunch of times. Educate yourself, plug into a good community of other quality people, and learn and get started. Take action. 23 is a great time to get started.
Love it. What is a rental portfolio? So I get asked that every once in a while. So a rental property portfolio, a portfolio of rental properties, a bunch of rental properties, just like a portfolio in the stock market is owning several different types of stocks, and stocks is the same thing, owning several different rental properties. But it's a good question. Most people don't say the property part, and for people that aren't familiar with it, that makes sense. Do you do internships? We don't really currently do that, but I appreciate that very much. If we decide to do that in the future, I will put it out on all the social medias, and we will do this and pick somebody, because I get asked that question quite a bit. How do you build a buyer's list, Bryan?
I'll tell you how I've done it in the past and how we currently do it. But
you got the best in St. Louis we have, so we can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. CJ in our office has a fantastic buyer's list, but by finding other investors out there, and where are they going to be at? They're going to be in the Facebook groups. So go to the real estate Facebook groups. Go to the real estate clubs in your community. Help me out here, Sam. How did we build a buyer's list? Those are the first two things that came to my mind.
Yeah. So when you go to join those local Facebook groups, for sure, people are going to be shopping a million properties and a million bad properties, but people are going to be putting their email addresses in there. So just snipe those. They're okay with that, and just email them. Hey, would you like me to add you to buyer's list? You go to those we buy, just type Google, like We Buy Ugly Houses. Those are big companies like Faster House and our company that will show up, and guess what? Those people buy and sell houses. So you can tap into that, and then just going to those local clubs and meeting people and talking to other investors at the meetups, and you'll know who the good buyers are pretty quickly. It takes time. You're not going to have an amazing buyers list right away, but I'd rather have quality over quantity. I'd rather have a list of 25 good buyers than a list of 1,000 that only have 10 or 15 good buyers. So I'd rather have quality over quantity, or quantity over quantity. I mixed that up like 3 times, but I'd rather have a little amount of good buyers than a bunch of bad buyers.
Yeah, you said that well, Sam. When I started, I only had a handful of buyers that I was wholesaling to, and that actually worked really well. These days we got tons, but we've been doing it a long time. So if you're out there doing any wholesaling, buyers are going to find you. So when people find you, just make sure you're putting them in some kind of database. I think we use ClickFunnels, don't we? Is that what we use, Sam?
We use ClickFunnels, ActiveCampaign. We use a few different ones. Yep.
Yeah, but just make sure you're creating a database and storing them in there so you can email and text them and so forth.
Yep, I like it. I like it a lot. So keep the questions coming. We're about 10 minutes behind on questions, so not bad at all. We've been way farther behind. So that means we will get to your questions in the next 5 or 10 minutes if you're asking it now. So don't go anywhere. When you have a buyer's list, do you offer the wholesale to them all, or when you have a buyer's list, do you send the offer? Okay, so yeah, so usually what we'll do is CJ, who sells all our properties, he'll have a few buyers that bug him all the time. He knows exactly what they want and where they want, and if he comes across the property, he may call or text them first. But in general, yes, we do a text blast or an email blast out or a Facebook blast to our entire list, and want everybody to know they have a fair shake at it in general. Ty Ryder loves OPM. Bryan, do you love OPM?
I do. It's the way to create leverage in real estate, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is. What is the way to convince my parents to let me wholesale? I'm 16. Bryan, you had a 16-year-old a couple years ago. How could she have convinced you to buy real estate?
Oh, wow. How do I convince my parents to let me wholesale? I guess by educating them if they're open to it, because you're really, by wholesaling, if you do it right, you do it correctly, it's very safe, and you're helping people out. So I would try to help educate your parents slowly but surely. And I guess another way to do it is to find a good wholesaler in town and maybe try to get on board with them as an intern or a partner, kind of help bring them a deal, so they're kind of sharing in the knowledge and the risk. And like I said, there's really no risk if you're doing it right. So they would help you to make sure that you are doing it right. But I don't know. It's hard to convince your parents of doing something that they don't understand, especially when you're 16. So I would say try to educate them as best you can by maybe watching some Sam's videos on on YouTube together. Try to ask him to sit down and watch them with you. Sam's a super convincing dude. So I think that might be one way.
That's a good way. Or if you have an older sibling, screw your parents. Just partner with them.
There you go.
All right. Brian Johnson says, "What's up?" Two of the biggest action takers he knows. Well, Brian is one of the biggest action takers we know as well.
Brian said some very nice things about Jake earlier on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that, but they were like so mushy. They were like loving on each other.
They're cute. They're cute. How do I start in a market that's more expensive? The average discount. So on the market, there is not one market in the entire United States of America that you can't make money investing in real estate in. Some markets have some strategies that work better than other strategies. It's pretty tough to do the Burr method in California, but guess what? If you get a discounted house, you will wholesale it like that if you get it at a good enough price. So whatever your market price, whether your average market price is $1 million or $100,000, as long as you're getting properties under contract at enough of a discount off market price, you will be able to wholesale them, rent them, or flip them, fix and flip them, as long as you're buying at enough of a price off of discount, which I have several videos on the max allowable formula we use. Not going to go into it right now. It's pretty tricky. It's a very simple formula, but things are so much easier if there's a whiteboard behind me or graphics popping up. So it is a very simple formula, but just make sure you're buying at enough of a discount. You agree, Brian? Okay.
Yeah,
Steven,
if you want to, how do you want to? Go ahead. Was there a delay? Did I lose you there first?
You did. We're all good. We're moving
right.
on. Any book recommendations for someone wanting to start investing in real estate? Book recommendations. What do you give your top 2 books? I'll give my top 2 books. I'll let you go first. Age Before Beauty.
Well, to start in real estate investing, I guess as far as books go, I guess my favorite book in real estate investing is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a classic. It's just the general principles more than anything. As far as, honestly, I don't read books on real estate investing. I learn all my information for real estate investing either on podcasts or YouTube channels, or going to the local club, or just joining a coaching group or a mastermind, something like that. That's where I've learned everything. I'm not saying there aren't good books out there. There probably are. I just don't read books on real estate education.
I like it. I agree. And the one I agree with all of that. I say that quite a bit. Think and Go Rich, or Think and Grow Rich is by Napoleon Hill is a pretty good one as well. A good mindset one.
Yeah,
you can read it. You can read it at any age. Just about just thinking. It's a very descriptive title. It's about thinking and growing rich. All right. What kinds of thing cause the real estate market to change? Tayden's got a bunch of really good questions. I'll go a little bit. Probably don't want to get too into details. Brian could probably answer this one better, so I'll give a bad answer, let him give a good one. In my opinion, right now, the 3 main factors that affect the real estate market are supply, demand, and interest rate. So all those things, if supply is low and demand is high and interest rates are low, I don't know what the heck could ruin the real estate market. COVID couldn't even ruin the real estate market. The whole freaking world shut down and the market just kept chugging along. So if those 3 things are working in the market's favor, I don't know what could. I mean, obviously could, we're being a little hyperbolic, but obviously something could, but in general, not much. But if interest rates start to creep up and supply creeps up, it will slow down. I'll kind of let you finish the thought. I think you probably have similar thoughts, Brian, but I mean, those are the main 3 things. Brian might think of something else that kind of affects it.
No, those are the 3 things. So maybe to take it one step deeper is what can affect supply, or what can affect demand. So what can affect demand is consumer confidence. If people are losing their job, or whatever. I always look at consumer confidence and the jobs market in typical times. The unusual thing about today is there's a lot of people that lost their jobs over the last 6 months, but the government done so much for that that it has affected demand like in normal times.
We're losing you quite a bit.
I'm just going to keep talking.
All right, I'll go. Let's see if you move on. But basically what affects the real estate market, like I said, is supply, demand, interest rates, and then consumer confidence. It's a perception. It's confidence. It's like, if people are confident that they're going to have a job in 12 months or 6 months, they're confident they're going to get that bonus or that raise. They're confident in spending some extra money on things. They're going to go out and look for houses and buy houses. If they're not confident, if they're worried about their job, kind of no matter what, that was a great additional point to my 3 points that'll make a difference. It looks like things are a little bit smoother, Brian, so I'll let you come in on the next question. I don't know if it's moving around a lot or not, but just we'll keep rocking on it. So do you know the average percent? Yeah, I would say in average, my guess is the interest rates plus points or some private or hard money lenders do points. They're going to end up at 12 to 18% in general around the country, probably closer to that 15 to 18 in hard money lenders. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say hard money lenders is somewhere in the 12 to 15% range for the most part. Private lenders more in the 8 to 10% range is what I would say.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. We're starting to get down, see how far we are. We got about 10 minutes. So Justin, he's a local St. Louis guy. Benefit loss to buying a rental property in a portfolio loan through your LLC or buying in your personal name and then transferring the deed into his LLC. Which would you recommend on your first 10 flips? So I'll go first. Go. You were frozen for a second, but just try not to wiggle. I think you're wiggling. I think you're wiggling makes it freeze.
Why would wiggling make it freeze? I don't know that one. But I'll try not to wiggle, Sam. I'll sit here really quick.
Sit on your damn hands.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of go backwards. So it sounds like Justin knows about loans that you can sell on the secondary market. The best interest rates that you can get tied in for 30 years, so fixed for the longest amount of time, are ones that you can sell on the secondary market of Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. They allow you to do 10 loans. And generally, I would recommend people to start by using that because it's the best interest rate and it's locked in for 30 years. And after you do have to keep that in your personal name from when you buy it all the way to when you got it, either if you're putting 20% down up front or if you're doing the BRRRR method, buy up front in your personal name, rehab it all the way through, refinance it in your personal name, and then after you've refinanced it, transfer it into your LLC by a quick claim deed. So that's what I'd recommend for your first 10, unless you're buying properties that are, say, less than $100,000. If you're doing those, then just use local banks because it save the higher dollar ones for your for the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type stuff. As far as buying a portfolio loan through yeah, I think we pretty much answered that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I think you're good. The only thing I would add to that, Brian, is if you do enough in your LLC, they will not let you go back. Lucas and I looked into last year doing some personal loans and then quit claiming, and they said, no, you got like 100 and something in your commercial property, commercial loans in your LLCs. You can't go back and do personal now. So
yeah, we love using the local banks. We use local banks all the time, but you're not going to get the 30-year fixed type stuff from the local banks. So on your first 10, if you can use the Fannie Mae product, do it.
I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, I'll keep the questions coming. All right, keep this up, please. We're getting some good stuff. All right, so I'm 40 with no rentals. How can I speed up the process? Well, if you want to be successful in any business, whether it's opening up a restaurant or investing in real estate, first you need to treat it like a business, and then you need to educate yourself. You need education and connections, no matter what your business is, no matter what your industry is. So we can help you with both those things. The education, make sure you're following our stuff on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, all under the name FasterFreedom, as well as other stuff. There's a ton of really, really smart and better looking people out there to follow, but make sure you follow us as well. Just start to get that basis of knowledge. And then you need the connections. No matter what your industry is, we're talking real estate here. So you need to join your local real estate investing Facebook groups and your local real estate investing meetups, and start to make those connections and gain your knowledge there. If you do those two things, you will get on that path towards where you want to go. You're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow if you start to do those things, but you can and will be if you start to gain the knowledge and continue to gain the knowledge, and then meet the people in your market. And I'm laying that one up there to Bryan. What's the next thing you got to do once you got the knowledge and once you got the connections? What do you have to do?
Take action. You're ready. No reason to wait any longer. Take action. But so I would say exactly what Sam said. Then take action. But at the same time, don't be frustrated or beat yourself up because you don't have any rentals at this point. It's all good. Life is good. Just get started now. Colonel Sanders didn't start the chicken factory until he was 70 or something crazy like that. Buy your first rental when you're 40.
There you go. I love you. Buy your first rental when you're 40. You will have more. If you own your personal house and you have a rental when you're 40, you will own more real estate than about 99.5% of the world's population, because you own, your house and a rental. So you will be doing just fine. Like Bryan said, don't beat yourself up. Getting started at 40 is better than getting started at 50. So just look at it that way.
Exactly.
All right. So, all right. So you get that's on the phone. Oh, I don't really get that question. I'll keep them coming. Do you know anything about this? If you don't know, it's okay. Do you know anything about the delayed mortgage financing method to pull your cash back out of the property? Sounds like potentially a delayed mortgage. It could potentially be the BRRRR method. When you're doing the BRRRR method, you are delaying your mortgage because you have an initial loan on that. But we at FasterFreedom do not make crap up. So if we don't know it, we're just going to tell you we don't know it, and hopefully we'll know the next question. So Angie has a question here for you. Would banks keep letting me borrow money if they know my intent is to invest, flip, and sell throughout the year? Also, won't each loan pay off because my credit score will decrease? So you can read that a little bit, unpack it while I kind of answer a little bit of it kind of broadly, Bryan. So we talked a little bit about this earlier. When you are doing loans with a bank, they understand these aren't your Bank of America's, your Commerce Bank. These banks need to invest in you. They need to invest in real estate investors to stay in business. They're not like Bank of America, where they have $1 billion in depository accounts and they sell everything on the secondary market, for a margin. They keep their stuff in-house. They have depository accounts and they do other stuff, but they keep these notes in-house and they hold them. They do not sell them to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And that's where they make their money and their income, and they pay their employees and stay in business and make a profit. So they want and need to do business with investors like you and I. So keep that in mind. If you bring them good deals and you have a few other things to back that up as far as income and certain other requirements, they're going to be fighting over giving you business.
Yeah, it sounds like her intent is to fix and sell, or flip and sell. It's not to build a portfolio of rentals. So honestly, we primarily use private lenders. You can use some local banks. There are some local banks that understand that and will work with you on that. But we use primarily private lenders. If you're using private lenders, they're not going to pull your credit, so it doesn't affect you. If you're using local banks that understand the wholesaling or the fix and flip business, they're just going to pull your credit once a year. They're not going to do it on every deal. But you got to go into the bank, tell them what you're doing, ask if that's the kind of business that they want, because there's a lot of banks that don't want the fix and flip business or the short-term financing business, like Sam was saying. But there are plenty that do. So you got to find the ones that do. They'll understand how it works, and they'll work with you, and it won't affect your credit because they'll only pull your credit once a year.
Awesome. All right. This one I'll kind of give you, Bryan, and I'll talk to.
I know Brent.
Yeah, I know Brent. Brent's our buddy. Have you ever owned or financed one of your rentals? I have not, so I'm going to lay this one to you and go answer a question real quick on here. But you take this one, Bryan. This is made for you. You should have asked. You should have said, "Hey, Bryan." Talk about owner financing, because I think you're a little more. I know you're more familiar with than I am.
I have never owner financed. I mean, I did the rent to owns, so sort of. For the most part, I've done rent to own, so I can't say I've done specifically owner finance rentals to a tenant, but I have done rent to owns where I've given them the option to buy it in a certain amount of their rent each month goes toward the purchase price. And that's worked out okay. If you're talking about doing it to your tenant, I would probably prefer to do a lease purchase or a rent to own than a seller financing, because you have control if it goes bad. If you do a seller financing and for whatever reason that tenant buyer doesn't pay their rent or take care of your house, you have to foreclose, which is just a little bit of a higher bar, more challenging thing to do than if you do a rent to own, where you're renting it with a portion of the payment each month going toward the purchase price, and giving them a time to buy it. That's the way I've gone in the past. I feel like I have more control that way. If the tenant doesn't pay on time or whatever, I can evict them. If during that time I can continue to have the tax benefits of depreciation and so forth. So I've always preferred the rent-to-own method versus the owner financing method for those reasons.
I like it. Crushed it. I knew you would. I'm in my mid-30s with $2 million in real estate equity. That's incredible. $4 million in real estate. So it sounds like you're about 50% equity, which is great. How to diversify outside the U.S. So we pretty much just talk about real estate investing on this channel. I know there's Forex. There's a few different things you can do. But I'm not comfortable enough with my knowledge on that stuff to give advice on something like that. I only like to stay in my lane, and that is out of my lane. Do you have any crazy stock that they can buy that's going to be the next, German Tesla, Brian?
No, but I'll tell you a couple things that I've honestly had some similar thoughts to Wandering Doc here. So I kind of understand his thought process a little bit. I've been looking into the possibility of starting to buy some real estate outside the United States. And there's the Real Estate Guys channel. So podcast, The Real Estate Guys, they talk about that quite a bit. They're buying in Belize. So if that interests you at all, they can definitely help you with that. And then as far as any investments other than real estate outside the United States, I don't know anything about it.
Nice. When you travel the world next year, you can just buy a house and everywhere you go.
The other guy that talks a lot about that is the Nomad Capitalist. Nomad Capitalist on YouTube. Follow his channel a little bit. He talks about that a lot.
All right, there you go. What is the first step for someone who has no experience in real estate? Get experience, get knowledge. Get your knowledge by following our channels on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, FasterFreedom, as well as a bunch of other people that have really, really good stuff. So just get the knowledge and start to get the connections. I talked a little bit about that earlier, so I don't want to go back too much, but get knowledge and connections, and then you'll be on the path. And then Wandering Doc says he's looking in Montenegro and Japan.
Yes.
The same.
I don't know anything about Osaka, Japan. Gosh, it might be great. I don't know. Real estate sucked in Japan for the last 20 years, but maybe it's time. Maybe it is a great time. I have no idea, but I do know George Gammon, who's a guy that I follow, is buying real estate in Montenegro. So he's a believer in it. So I think that's seems like a good idea.
Good enough for me. Let's open up Faster House down there, Brian. Let's open up a branch. All right, so Brian, I've asked you this before. I want to know your question. I want to know your answer again, especially because last time I asked you this on this live was probably about 10 lives ago, and I bet nobody's watching now that was watching then. What is your favorite thing about what's your favorite thing about real estate? I obviously can be your first one, top couple things, but what do you love about real estate?
What do I love about it? It's the number one, it provides freedom. Two of my guiding principles, probably the two most important guiding principles for me is freedom and happiness. So real estate provides freedom because, number one, you can get out of a regular full-time job working for somebody else relatively easily by picking up wholesaling or the fix and flip business. So that's one of my favorite things, is you can get a sense of freedom pretty easily. But the most incredible thing about real estate is you can create an income stream greater than your monthly expenses, create financial freedom by building a portfolio of rentals where the cash flow gets greater than your monthly expenses. So you can create financial freedom that way, and then you can create true wealth by owning real estate long term. Sam, I think your favorite thing is generational wealth. Is that correct?
I do. I like it. It's the only way that I know that you can create generational wealth without a bunch of without, having some crazy like idea, right? I mean, starting Tesla or creating, the next big app or figuring out some type of technology or some type of invention can create generational wealth. Aside from that, working for somebody else, even if you're CEO of a small size company, in my opinion, you're just not going to create generational wealth. If you're CEO of Caterpillar, then maybe. But in general, if you want to do it, real estate is the best path. I mean, 90% of millionaires are created through real estate, not I became a millionaire, so I started investing in real estate. No, they've through real estate. So if 90% of people do it, you know how many millionaires there are out there? Let's say there's 100,000 millionaires, 90,000 of them became millionaires through real estate. That's crazy. So there's a reason for that. Low barrier of entry. There's so many different paths to take, and then just the power of it. It's always going to do this no matter what. It may do this for a while, but it's always going to go up. So it's just the most tried and true path to wealth and generational wealth if you're willing to stick your neck out there a little bit out there. So that's why I love it. And it just the sky's the limit. If you're going to build widgets, well, so maybe someone will stop buying widgets. Somebody's not going to always stop investing in real estate or stop needing somewhere to live. So.
Yeah, and you can use leverage so good too. That's another thing I love about real estate is that it's relatively easy to use leverage and inexpensive. So inexpensive leverage. So I'm a fan of that.
I'm a fan of real estate as well. So thank you all for being on here. We go live like this every Wednesday. I go live on TikTok about 2 or 3 times a day. I go live on Instagram about 1 or 2 times a week, and we go live on here once a week. So if you like this live interaction to where we are answering your questions, make sure to follow us on all those platforms and continue to follow us, as well as check out our content. I mean, we're doing 2 or 3 TikToks a day, several Instagrams a day, as well as 2 other YouTube posts. So we are out there, and if you want knowledge, we are giving it away for free. So make sure to follow our stuff. If you want a deeper dive, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. We do have a mastermind, a national mastermind, as well as a academy that we teach everything we know about growing a rental portfolio. And we're coming out with the Wholesaling Academy soon. So we have a more free than anybody gives away, but obviously we have some paid offerings for those people that want a little bit more. So contact me on Instagram if you want that. If not, I'm good. Mr. Bryan, you good?
I'm good. It was fun.
All right. Have a good rest of your evening, everybody.